Today on Rock the Park,
we're talking over 1 million acres of land here and a lot of mystery.
we're on the trail of some of Utah's oldest and most priceless relics.
Oh, yeah. There it is. That's got to be it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
They tell the story of our country's earliest inhabitants.
It gives you goosebumps that somebody actually stood right here and put their hand right next to where mine is right now.
We're in Bears Ears National Monument,
Ready to go in?
and it all starts right now.
I'm Jack Stewart.
This is the real deal.
And I'm Colton Smith.
These are mountains!
We've been buddies for years, always in search of the next adventure.
Dude, what was that?
We share a passion for our national parks and other wild places around the world.
Oh my God.
Heading off the beaten path, pushing our limits, and experiencing nature's best-kept secrets.
Here we go!
It's how we rock the park.
Looks like we just go up. So the trail's taking us up this way, right to the base of this alcove. And the Kiva's gotta be just right up there. Oh, is this it?
This is it. Wow. Look at this.
Oh my gosh.
Bears Ears is an explorer's dream. Named for two distinctive buttes rising high above the desert landscape, Bears Ears is one of our country's newest national monuments. 1.3 million acres of untouched wilderness in the heart of southeastern Utah.
A wilderness that protects nearly 100,000 ancient artifacts, cliff dwellings, and petroglyphs from 5 Native American tribes: the Hopi, Navajo, Ute Mountain Ute, Pueblo of Zuni, and Ute. Most of these sites have never been studied. That work is just beginning, so we've been asked to keep the location of our first hike a secret in order to protect it from vandals or looting. We camped out last night so we could get an early start.
What makes Bears Ears so incredibly special is there are thousands and thousands of ancient artifacts here. And that's exactly what we're gonna go out and try to find today.
There are ancient cliff dwellings somewhere out there. Now these things are not on any map, so it's gonna be up to us to find them.
The dwellings we're looking for should be perched somewhere on a canyon wall, about 4 miles from our campsite.
The sun literally just popped up. I think it's time for us to get moving because we might need all day.
Yeah, and it's gonna get hot very, very quickly.
We're hiking on top of the Cedar Mesa, a 400 square mile high plateau marked by deep sandstone canyons and high desert meadows. We've got rough GPS coordinates, but spotting cliff dwellings is tough.
This is great, though. You're not just looking for a mountain peak or, a geographical feature. You're looking for signs of life from thousands of years ago. That is so truly special and unique.
I love it. This is exploration at its finest.
Archaeologists believe it was likely ancestral Puebloans who used the site we're looking for. We're also on the lookout for any wildlife those people would have considered essential to survival, like these guys.
So Colton spotted a little bit of movement up ahead of us, and we now know that these are desert bighorn sheep.
Desert bighorns always travel in herds. You'll generally find them near canyons and gulches, places where it's difficult for predators to follow them.
One thing about these guys that's so cool is they can retain water for up to 5 days, which is how they survive in a harsh environment like this.
Local tribes relied on the desert bighorn for food and clothing, while their bones were fashioned into tools.
The native people revered the bighorn sheep. In fact, they would actually draw them on the walls of the cliffs and caves out here.
We've been hiking over an hour, and the fact we haven't found the canyon yet has me nervous.
Should be about 1/10 of a mile this way.
Okay.
Oh, no way.
Well, we definitely found the canyon.
Oh, man.
Multiple rivers carved this massive canyon out of the same Cedar Mesa sandstone we've been hiking on.
Yeah, there's no way to get down there, at least right here. Not a chance.
The ruins should be nestled somewhere in these canyon walls. The trick now is figuring out where they are, how far down we'll have to go to find them, and still be able to climb back out.
We know that there's a way into this canyon, but this is turning out to be much more difficult than I anticipated.
And with sheer drops of 300 to 400 feet, every step counts.
Careful here, this is steep. All right, so we have dropped into the canyon now, and we're in scan mode, looking for anything that pops out on the cliffside that could possibly be these ruins.
I'm also right now making sure that we know exactly what route we took to get down here so we can get back up.
Dude, there they are. There are the ruins.
Yes!
Oh my gosh.
Oh, man.
That is so cool.
The dwellings are well camouflaged and blend into the surrounding sandstone.
They're built into like a natural alcove, so it's providing a roof over their heads, and all they need is to put up the walls to really fortify that shelter.
You can see the watermarks from here coming down the canyon walls, and that would go right over that dwelling without getting anything wet. Seriously, think about that. That may be 3,000 plus years old, and it's still standing, pretty strong looking too.
Archaeologists believe ancient peoples used these dwellings to get away and relax, or sometimes to escape their enemies.
And that shows the importance of this park right there. It's preserving these things. It's leaving them untouched for other people to come and find. I feel like I'm the first person to ever discover this because they are so untouched and so hidden.
I mean, it's a living museum, and it's huge. It's 1.3 million acres that you can walk through and be a part of, and that is truly something special.
That living museum extends from the high desert plateau all the way to a stunning valley few people ever see, the Valley of the Gods.
Man, oh man.
Oh my gosh. A second ago, we just came around this curve, and now we are staring down about 500 or more feet at the Valley of the Gods, and you can see the spires and pinnacles and buttes that are off in the distance.
Over millions of years, wind, snow, and rain carved these epic rock formations out of the same Cedar Mesa sandstone we were hiking on this morning.
One of the reasons why Bears Ears is such a large national monument is because different parts of the park mean something different to a different Native American tribe. So Valley of the Gods is seen as a sacred spot to the Navajo, who believe that the spires are Navajo warriors frozen in time.
Tonight, we're lucky enough to be sharing the valley with those ancient warriors, setting up camp on public land just off the Valley of the Gods road.
Oh man, now this is a campsite.
This'll do just fine.
Wow.
We're surrounded by stunning natural beauty and the mystery of what tomorrow may bring.
So today we got a glimpse of some of these ruins, but tomorrow we're going to a spot where we can actually go inside of them.
And we experience the thrill of stumbling onto dwellings that aren't even on a map.
Ooh, hey, yeah.
See that?
I see that too. Oh man, that's cool.
We're in Bears Ears National Monument in Utah, a wilderness that protects more than 100,000 ancient Native American artifacts, cliff dwellings, and petroglyphs, as well as many sacred sites. Now, we're gonna be headed into a canyon today where we're gonna go try to find a Kiva, which is a religious site for one of these Puebloan tribes. A Kiva is a large sacred building or chamber that is usually partially or entirely underground. We've got over 5 miles to cover through some rugged canyon country where one wrong turn could get us lost.
So our trail is starting to work its way down into the canyon, and it's becoming less of a trail with every step. We're following rock cairns and really having to keep our eyes peeled for where they are.
Cairns like these are left by previous hikers to mark the trail. The trick is remembering to look up every now and then so as not to miss something you didn't even know was there.
Oh, hey, yeah.
See that?
I see that too. Oh man, that's cool.
All right, so we've spotted a cliff dwelling that is not on any of our maps.
This is a really interesting one because a lot of the cliff dwellings, they are situated right up against the cliff for protection. This one is right on top of the cliff. It's out in the open. It almost seems like it'd be like a good guard post or something like that.
Archaeologists believe ancestral Puebloans used remote structures like these for storing crops and grain.
What's so amazing about this is we have ghost towns that were abandoned in the 1970s, and there's nothing left of them. This thing is doing pretty well for possibly being thousands of years old. All right, one down.
Yeah.
That right there is what makes Bears Ears so special. The fact that we're just hiking along the trail, look up, and spot ancient ruins right there in front of us is pretty incredible.
One of the things that makes Bears Ears so intriguing to me is the fact that it really is an explorer's park. We're talking over 1 million acres of land here and a lot of mystery. Oh yeah. Now this is the type of canyon I'm used to.
Well, here we go.
Bullet Canyon is about 6 miles long and in places more than 800 feet deep. It's the largest tributary of Grand Gulch, a twisting canyon carved into the Cedar Mesa.
You got some loose rock here. Be careful.
We've got to carefully make our way down to the canyon floor on the steep and slippery slick rock, which is sandstone that has been buffed smooth by wind and water.
Man, this alcove right here is just so typical of Utah.
Yeah.
You can just see how the water has come through here over so many years and just carved out this sandstone.
And here's the fascinating part about it. We have not seen any water since we've been hiking, and yet, looking all around us, it's green. And that is because even though it doesn't rain here often, when it does, this soil retains that moisture, which is why the ancient peoples were able to live here, to grow crops and to harvest them.
Rich red soil like this was not only essential for growing staple crops like corn and squash, it also provides a perfect canvas for spotting signs of wildlife.
Right here, we've got some really, really tiny little paw prints. And judging by the size of them, these are probably from a ringtail.
The ringtail cat isn't a cat at all. It's a member of the raccoon family. They come out at night to hunt small mice and lizards using their large tails to keep their balance on downed branches and ledges.
It may look really dry and desolate, but obviously there is still plenty of life here.
The Kiva should be located on a southwest-facing alcove in a section where the canyon really widens out.
Now the problem with finding cliff dwellings is they're made out of the same material as the cliff, so they really blend in. You really gotta have a keen eye and look for that one thing that just doesn't seem to fit in.
Oh yeah, there it is. That's gotta be it, right?
Yeah, that's it.
Actually, that's not it, but it's something just as awesome.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
This is amazing.
Holy cow.
We're in Bullet Canyon, a deep gorge within Bears Ears National Monument. We've been looking for a sacred place where Native peoples would pay homage to their ancestors. We thought we'd found it, but this tiny window is our first clue that this isn't the Kiva, but something called the jailhouse.
Man, that is so cool. You've got 3 distinct pictographs that you can see very, very vividly from all the way down here that are just painted on the cliffside.
So here's what I think we should do. Let's work our way around and see if there's some way that we can climb that ridge up there and get a little bit closer.
The fact we're here means we walked past the Kiva about a quarter mile back. That's okay, because this is how Bears Ears should be experienced.
They don't make it easy to get to, that's for sure.
No, they don't. I think that was probably the point. Shall we?
Yeah, let's see if we can get up there.
Exploring these ruins is encouraged by the Bureau of Land Management and the Forest Service, as long as you leave everything as you find it.
Oh my gosh, look at this.
This is amazing.
Holy cow.
Ooh, check this out. So this right here is that perfect example of the mud and wattle technique that they used to construct a lot of the structures that they have out here in these cliffs.
Mud and wattle combines a framework of branches and bark strips covered in a plaster made from mud, clay, animal dung, and plant fibers.
And the fact that we're looking at it today means that they did a pretty awesome job on this.
Jailhouse Ruin gets its name from the barred window that leads into a small chamber.
Look at all these hands.
Oh yeah.
Wow, oh my gosh.
Archaeologists aren't sure what the room was used for or what the pictographs mean, but they do know that fire played a role here.
Cooking most certainly took place here. Not only do we see the ceiling covered in black, most likely from a fire, but this is so cool. There are still little fragments of corn cobs from whenever this was used as a kitchen, potentially thousands of years ago, and still the corn husks are there. Oh, you can see shards too from pots. Wow. Man, oh man, this is amazing.
It's one thing to go to a museum and see artifacts from places all over the world. It's another thing to be walking in the exact spot where these things took place. It's almost as if the people just picked up and left a couple days ago because that's how intact these places are.
And that's why preserving them is so important. Not just for visitors, but for the descendants of those ancient Puebloans who believe their ancestors' spirits still reside here.
To us, it feels like we're walking through the past, but to them, this is still very much a part of their heritage and who they are.
All right, this is pretty awesome, but I gotta tell you, I gotta find this Kiva.
Yeah.
The fact that we're here means we passed it.
It means we passed it, but it also means that it is very, very close. Oh, that might be it. Here, come here a minute.
The Kiva was a place where ancient Puebloans gathered to worship and pay homage to their ancestors.
Okay, do you see way up in that alcove, there's like a stack of stones? That looks like it's man-made. That doesn't look like it's just natural.
So we spotted some cairns, and we think we're on our way up to the Kiva. But there's only one way to find out. Looks like we just go up.
And up. And up. Over sections of steep slick rock and some gnarly rock scrambles. It's clear this Kiva was built only for those who knew how to find it.
So the trail's taking us up this way, right to the base of this alcove. And the Kiva's gotta be just right up there. Oh, is this it?
This is it. Wow, look at this.
Oh my gosh, there's more than just a Kiva here.
We're in Bears Ears National Monument, where we've been searching most of the day for a Kiva, a sacred place for Native Americans who lived here hundreds, perhaps thousands of years ago.
Okay, do you see way up in that alcove?
After scrambling up a sandstone cliff, we discover that the underground Kiva is the centerpiece of an ancient village, with several dwellings, countless shards of pottery, and pictographs.
Look at all the pictographs that are scattered over this entire wall.
That guy almost looks like he's kneeling down or sitting down, and that would be so fitting for this place. This is where they came to practice religious ceremonies and other things.
It gives you goosebumps that somebody actually stood right here and put their hand right next to where mine is right now. It's just fascinating.
Ready to go in?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's take off our bags.
Yeah.
We're descending into what's called the perfect Kiva, so named for how perfectly preserved it is after countless centuries.
Now, when these Kivas were built, they started by carving out a circular bowl, so you can see how this thing was dug out originally.
You can see on the ceiling all the char marks from the fires that they had down here. And you imagine coming to a ceremony surrounded by family and friends in this tiny little Kiva. You think to yourself that somebody sat right here. Somebody sat right where Jack's sitting. It makes everything feel so much more real.
One thing that we have learned is that nature binds us all together spiritually. Even though we don't know exactly the type of ceremonies that went on down here, I'm gonna take a moment to bow my head and to really reflect on all of the great things that we have to be grateful for. And one of them is places like this. I mean, our country is so unique and so special in the fact that we preserve these places, that we take pride in making sure that these are here for future generations, and that we respect all people and all cultures, especially the cultures that left their mark on this area long before we did.
It's truly humbling to be in a place where so many have come before to worship and to honor the spirits of their ancestors.
The feeling that I had walking up to those ruins and then today going inside of that perfect Kiva was just unlike anything that I've ever felt before, and knowing that there are thousands more places that are that special right here in this national monument, it really makes you take a step back.
This monument has something for everybody. If you want to go out on a short hike, a scenic drive, car camp, or really get out in the backcountry and search for a spiritual experience, you can find that here in Bears Ears.
This is a place that preserves not just beauty, but voices. The voices of those who came before.
Our national parks are beautiful because they keep those voices living. It's what makes this country great. It's what makes places like this a national treasure. we need to protect places like Bears Ears because we need to make sure that everybody's voice is heard and preserved.
And remember,
Hey, if we can do it,
So can you.
So the next chance you get, go out and rock the park.
hey everybody, thanks for watching. Make sure to leave any questions or comments that you have.
And please subscribe to the channel. There's a lot more to come.